All right, first up on the show is James Dickerson, the Vice President of Sales at Patriots Roofing and a military veteran. James, great to have you on the show. So, Army.
Yes, sir.
Army service, so thank you for your service. I was Air Force, so I'm not going to fault you because you're Army, but
and I won't tease you because you're Air Force.
Okay, I mean, good. Well, the Air Force is.
I'll tell you what. After the show, we'll get together. We'll joke around about the Coast Guard. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
And then, of course, we have military or Marine Corps that comes on the show as well, and Air Force and Navy. I think we've got all the branches. We don't have Coast Guard.
Do you have Space Force yet?
Nope, not.
You got to include Space Force.
That's a thing.
It's a thing now.
It is a thing.
I mean, even the Coast Guard guys have someone to tease now. I mean, it's
Coast Guard's one of those things you forget about, but the inlanders forget about them,
right.
But not on the coast.
We don't forget them.
Right,
yeah.
and the roofing companies. So one of the things that separates Patriots Roofing, at least in my knowledge, from a lot of other companies is you guys do storm response to go and help.
Correct.
Right? So this is about helping the community recover, right, to support them during that process. And then, of course, you guys are going to offer services after, but it's not like, okay, we're just here to take business. They're actually there to support the community. So tell me a little bit about what happens when a storm
When we first started, our focus was really on the veteran community. I mean, that was our demographic. That's who we're all combat vets and prior law enforcement. So that was our market. That's who we were there to help. After going into a few storms, what we quickly realized is, yes, we're going to be helping the vets, but even to get to the vets, I mean, the community, there's so much tragedy, there's so much loss, there's so much devastation, and we just happen to have the skills, trained personnel.
Good point.
For triage and clear outs, and I mean, you name the wide range of skills that our guys have, they're perfect for that situation. So I go out ahead of the team, and how bad it is, are we even in, or do they need us, right? And then the team comes in behind. We bring food. We bring sometimes skid steers to clear brush, chainsaws. Even with all those supplies, I don't think that's the most important thing we bring, though. These people have lost it all.
Yeah.
They don't know tomorrow where they're going to be living. I've seen properties that have been generations of family. They're destroyed. They're gone. They're not coming back. I think being able to talk to these people, we've been in so many storms. A lot of us have had some pretty traumatic experiences all over the world, right? So we've seen a lot of things. So when we talk to these people, that counsel, that being there for them and finding out what they really need, right? I think that's the most important thing we bring. And then, of course, I hate to talk about the business side, but roofers are the biggest criminals in the entire construction industry, by and large. They are. My industry is just saturated with dishonest people. We're not there to sell roofs initially, but we are there to bring education. We bring a lot of education to these communities in written form, verbal form. We make sure they have the education before they meet with that insurance company, before all these shady roofers start coming in and trying to scam them.
There's something that you do that I had not heard before, and I don't know if you even want to talk about that.
Sure.
You can say I want to talk about that.
Sure,
This is totally fine. But when you guys come in, you actually help educate local law enforcement on
correct.
A list of folks that are known scammers.
The unspoken blacklist, right?
Yeah.
So during a declared tragedy, a declared disaster, right? Anything you do in there outside the law, well, that's federal crime, okay?
Oh.
So if you have been indicted... If you have been indicted by an attorney general, such as, let's look at Hurricane Harvey, there were many, many contractors, not just roofers, but we were the highest percentage that were indicted by the Texas Attorney General. We carry a list of those factual indictments, and we turn them over to law enforcement when we get to, especially small towns, counties. You take a place like Hondo would be a good example.
Sure.
Right during that massive hailstorm, state's biggest, just this past April. Now we're from there. But we went directly to law enforcement, said, here's the list of the companies, that have been invited. We had 4 of them come into my hometown, and they were removed immediately. So
that is such a good thing because people are desperate.
Right.
They're uneducated when it comes to the roofing side of things, right? So we're like fertile ground to be victims.
They are, and these people, they're good at what they do. We always say the storm's bad, but the trash that comes after it, they're worse.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I've seen 80-year-old women and men pay for a $50,000 tarp on an 800 square foot home. I'm not kidding you.
Whoa.
A lot of these older people, they've got that sitting in the bank, and they will write those checks because it's just like you said, they're desperate.
Yes.
They just want to get back to normal, and whatever the easiest path is, first one to show up and say, I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
they're going to cling on to it. In many cases, they do get taken advantage of. And that's why it's important when we come in. And I really mean this. I wish all roofing companies, all construction companies during hurricanes would come in, give the literature to the people, sit down and talk with them, explain the process to them, right? It doesn't have to be the end of the world. You don't have to sit 2 years later in a house that's not livable anymore because you just didn't understand how to get it done.
Right.
You know? So that's what we bring to the table.
So how does an average person get that information? Where should they be looking besides Google, right? Because that's not going to help.
You know, it's not going to help. And it's state by state, okay? Sure. There's so many resources to study on this. You know, the insurance board for the state, for instance, insurance commission can tell you about rules, things the insurance companies can't do. Read your policy inside and out, okay? Know what you're dealing with and what you bought, okay? Do some vetting on legitimate companies like us or Paul, okay? Don't just read the reviews. Really look into that company before you make a decision. And when you're looking at these estimates coming across, really look at your estimates. This guy may seem cheap over here for 5 cents, right? And this guy's $5. Read the fine print.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Take your time. Don't rush after a hurricane. I know you want to get back to your house. I know you want to get back to normal. But the first month, the first 30 days of you dealing with your claim and you helping your family is the most important. The steps you take then are going to set the pace for the rest of this process. Find a good contractor. Check them out. But don't ever release all your power to that contractor either.
Right.
Stay involved. Stay engaged. Be the captain of your ship.
Yeah, and hold on to that money.
Yeah, don't ever pay a contractor up front, at least not in my industry, okay? There's other industries where that's perfectly acceptable. But for me in roofing, a legitimate contractor has accounts. He has money. He has resources. I do not need you to pay me up front. Now, the moment my job's done and I'm cleaned up and you're satisfied, I expect full payment.
Yeah.
Don't ever pay a contractor up front. You're giving them all the power. Keep your power.
That's the biggest lesson because people, just to be honest, they're not going to necessarily know their policy. They're not going to read it in advance. These are all, it's hyperbole for a lot of people because they're just not going to do it, but hold on to your cash.
Let me tell you how bad it is. We were just down, we're still working in the bayous of Louisiana, down below New Orleans, right? La Rose, Cut Off, those areas, Houma, Louisiana. I won't mention any names because we get very close to our customers. But I can tell you that after Hurricane Ida devastated Louisiana, the people of the bayous started making insurance claims, of course, largest storm in U.S. history. There were people with no wind coverage, no water coverage, but they had volcano coverage that was sold to them.
Oh, no.
Look, guys, the bayous of Louisiana, you don't need wildfire coverage. There's nothing to burn, right? Where's it going? We saw this repetitively in Louisiana. It's not the first time we've seen it. North Carolina, Texas, on the coastal bend. Horrible policies these people have been sold. And here's the thing. In almost every situation, you heard the statement, either my agent was my friend from high school or my agent said and they are the best people in the world. Look, they're salesmen, guys, just like me. I'm a salesman too. They want you to sign the contract and pay the money. Read what you buy. Your family depends on it, right?
Absolutely.
So,
all right, James, if people want to get in touch with Patriots Roofing, how do they do that?
You can go to our Facebook page. You can go to our website at www.patriotsroofing.com, or you can call 844-526-1235, sorry, and get a hold of us. The easiest way to get an appointment with us is to go online. With the demand that's out there right now, request an appointment. Generally, we're to you within 24 hours to 48 hours.
Okay. Yeah. All right, and you said patriotsroofing.net, right?
.com for the website.
.com for the website.
Sir.
Okay. All right. Thanks, James. We appreciate you coming in, man.